Good morning, good evening, good afternoon from wherever you are in Kenya and across the world. Here is Fidelis in the Politrix, bringing to you some deeper, deepest political analysis on the behavior of our politicians and more. What the politicians are not saying, but it is what they are communicating. Welcome and let us continue to subscribe to this channel so that we keep learning and we keep growing together, because it is through your subscription that we will grow and grow in beats and bounds. So today, you all know what has been happening and what is happening. I actually will produce a video on the death of Albert Ojwang later, but now I want to talk about hi cousins, hi Makuzo, hey, which has rendered Kenyans ungovernable. It has hit like a pro man. What does Cousins and Makuzo mean in our political setup, as Mr. Gachagua Rigathi put it, while at a rally in Mombasa? For starters, Rigathi Gachagua says he's stupid. He says he's not learned, but he's not very stupid. He has some level of understanding. Rigathi Gachagua says that uh, he knows how to listen to the ground, and that is something that he has mastered. And finally, Rigathi Gachagua calls himself the truthful man. How true is that? Your guess is as good as mine. But here is the thing. He is taking the bull by its horns. Mr. Gachagua is bullying the political landscape. He is actually controlling the narrative single-handedly by himself. Rigathi Gachagua has been labeled a tribalist, which to some extent he is, because when he was the deputy president, he talked about shares and that was his narrative. But since his impeachment, he has evolved into a different person now who has changed tact and is the choir master of the one-term choir. That being the point. What is the meaning of cousins and Makuzo in our political landscape? First of all, for starters, we should ask ourselves, who are cousins in the normal societal arrangement? So a cousin is a child of your father's or your mother's brother or sister. That is a cousin. So take yourself as an example. Your father, the children who have been birthed by the sisters and brothers to your father or your mother, those are your cousins. Now, can we bring it closer home? For starters, Rigathi Gachagua is a Bantu. And for those who are historians, Bantus were divided into three sections, into three classes. First of all, we have the coastal Bantu. So the coastal Bantu are the Bantus who are along the coastline. In Mombasa, in Kilifi, in Taita Taveta, in Tana River, in Malindi, in Kilifi. Those are the coastal Bantus. And they include the Michikenda, the Taitas, the Tavetas, the Durumas. Now the Mijikenda is composed of 9 other tribes: the Chonyis, the the Agiriamas. There are 9 of them. So the Pocomos. Those are distinct coastal Bantus. Then we have the highland Bantus, which includes the Kambas, the Kikuyus, the Ayempus, the Amperes, the Dakaras of this world, and the Ameros. Very important. And then we have uh, the Western Bantus, the Luyas, the Kisis, and the Kurias. Those are the Bantus. So, Mr. Gachagua is now interpreting the Bantus to be cousins. Or else, is that what Kenyans are interpreting that to mean? So, in other words, the game plan is that we have all Bantus on one side and we have the rest on the other side. That is wanted by the meaning of cousins and Makuzo, that Wapokomo, Wamichikenda, Wataita, Wataveta, Wakamba, Wameru, Waembu, Wadharaka, Wagikuyu, Wagisi, Waluya, Wakuria, how wote, they are cousins. And so they should vote together. They should be united. That is one aspect. And that is the aspect which I disagree with, because we cannot argue from that angle or thinking. Then this should therefore evolve into a national relationship between Kenyan communities. Look at it. Because we have lived with Luas, we have lived with Masais, the Nilotes of this world, the River Lake Nilotes, the Luas, the Plain Nilotes, the Masais, uh, the, the, the Samburus, you know, the Ogiekis, you know, the you know, the Highland Nilotes, the Kalenchins, you know, the Gems, the Marakwet, all those. We live with them and we are one community, we are like one country, we are like, so this cousin thing then should upgrade to be a national slogan that all of us are cousins, that because we are related in one way or the other. The marriage has come to bridge the gap between different cultural and ethnic, you know, perspectives. So I hope and pray that Rigathi Gachagua will move above Bantus and include Nilotes and Cushites in the cousin thing, because then that is a very serious catchphrase and it is hitting the ground like no man's business. So to take it nationally and to make it as strong as it is, then all of us Kenyans, we must speak the language of cousins. Because then, even if you're not brothers, fine, but really, we should be cousins because we all belong to this country. And that is the language that I advise Rigathi Gachagua to advance in every part of this country. It shouldn't be, and it should never be, a question of our ethnic origins, our tribal origins, but it should be a question of our Kenyan tag, and that is the genius, or rather, that is what should be the genius of our politics, right? So number three, I think that what we are witnessing right now is an intentional and deliberate move to make people realize that they have not spoken the same language politically, whereas they are related. You know, never before did we have Bantus speaking in one voice. Never before have we ever heard Nilotes and, you know, the other tribes speaking in one language. But that is what is seemingly being propagated by both sides. So it is important that then we understand where we are and get the correct interpretation of the cousin thing so that we can be able to move forward together and make choices at the ballot, not at the behest of who says what, not at the behest of who comes from where, but at the backdrop of who stands for what, who entails what principles, because that is absolutely what is necessary for us to grow as a people and to move forward together. And finally, my take is that there could be a plan to sideline one part of the country just for political mileage by those in power. So the opposition is reacting to a plan they know or they have heard of. And so they are trying to awaken the masses so that they may realign common interests to safeguard them. But that would obviously be very unfortunate if it was to happen, because this country has to be ruled in the context of the Constitution. And the Constitution says that we, the people, have the sovereign power. And that sovereign power, as I keep saying, cannot be exercised any louder in any other place than at the ballot. Because the ballot is the place where now we can make our voices heard, we can create narratives and make a difference in the way and manner in which this country is governed. That is absolutely important. And finally, Kenyans now know the problem they are facing. We all know where the rain started beating us. It's important that we stand a chance to correct that mess. We will not correct that mess by sloganeering, by demonstrations, but we will correct that first by registering as voters and by coming out during the election and cast our votes to our preferred, well thought out choices for MCS, for members of parliament, for senators, for the governors, and for the president. If we get it wrong at the ballot, we have gotten it wrong for a period of 5 years or potentially 10 years. Thank you, and that is my time.